So we've been having a conversation about containers and pain and how it's so obvious that the visual field is one thing and contained by the awareness of it. And it's so easy to hear, oh, then the auditory field and silence contains it all. And then we go, oh, but the sensational field, it, in, it ends here. This is the container. That's not the container. The skin line is the container. And then Cheryl was saying, "Yeah, but it's all over." And I was like, "That's what feels so great, so intense." And I was like, "Well, yeah, you have the sensational field compacted by the imagination in this size container. That's going to be intense." So our this repressed material on the path of awakening, is this repressed material is trying to be digested back into the all. But we go, nope, stops here. Buck stops here. When it doesn't, when it really doesn't. That is an imagined container. And so we're going to explore that and see what happens when we allow the container to that. And when we run around as the container, here's the crazy part. We run around trying to solve the problem as the container. And that's when we rely on our on the faulty GPS of our belief system. Oh, I've got to go here, I've got to go there, I've got to go this, and then maybe if I do this, we're all familiar ad nauseum with following the false GPS of our thinking system. But we also imagine the thinking system is in the container. Here it is, the me in the head, the thinking that says, I like this, I don't like this, no matter what I try, I can't find a solution, right? And that is perceived to be happening in here, and we call that me. And the thoughts say me, I, me, I, all day long. We open the container and we listen to the auditory field. What happens to that inside outside? What happens to that me? It's just a voice, like the sound of the birds, the sound of this voice, blah, 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 blah. But as soon as the attention narrows, I gotta solve this. I'm in pain. Right? And then from here down, that's myself. Whoo! I don't like myself. I love myself. Whatever. Me, myself, I. So we have three containers. One is this big. And in the in the context of what we were saying before, the emotional pain, if it's filling the whole body, and you're identified with the outline of the body, well, it's going to feel overwhelming because you're perceiving that as the container. And if you think you have a really busy mind or a crazy mind, you're perceiving yourself as your head. And this is the container for all those thoughts. Daunting. Daunting. That's what overwhelm is. Mistaking ourselves. So we've got a mind that's spinning, and we've got a myself that's hurting, and then we perceive that, me and myself, as one being. And that's the container for all that crap. That gets pretty uncomfortable. So, what's there to do but disidentify from the small container? We already did that. So in the visual field right now, just let the way that you're looking Just relax. Eyes don't have to move. Just the peripheral vision goes, wah, 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 wah. And you start to see more and more and more of the container of here-ness, of the container of the moment. Oh, there is the container. Ah, it's like a snow globe. Yeah. Ah, this container, that is a lot bigger. And then we sweep our attention around and go, oh, this body is in the container. Oh, now we have a diffused objective attention. And we start to see, okay, even though there's all this stuff happening, even though the mind is spinning, and even though, and the mind should, the spinning should slow down when we relax attention, when we relax the way we're looking. That's what I perceive to happen anyway. Well, that's what I experience that happens. I open, now the body is in the moment. I can still feel the outline, it's still in pain. But now I can see, oh, there's a lot more here besides just pain because my attention has relaxed. What else is here? Now that helps, right? But we go one step further and let the container slip behind the body and now wrap around the whole moment. So we have now included all the parts of that make up the separate self, the thinking, this outline, this color and shape, and behind the sensation. Wow. Okay, now everything's contained. Now let's relax into the auditory field. That means hear what else is here. Listen to the symphony of the snow globe, just like we wrapped our attention around all the shapes and colors, around the whole moment. Let attention do the same thing. Listening to all the sounds equally and simultaneously. And you see how even the sound of the occasional voice in the head is just part of the soundscape of now. It's contained. Oh, that's a much bigger container. Now, in this larger container, does the busyness of the mind, is it really overwhelming? Or is it just like little gnats? Little sound gnats. And they probably have slowed down when you open the container. Just rest there for a moment. Now we've got the visual container, we've got the snow globe, and the colors and shapes of the body are included. So it's just like, whoo, wrapping its arms around the whole moment. No separation. Color and shape, 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 color and shape. Ah, not separate. Feel separate, but not separate. And the sound of any thinking that may be there, the sound of this voice, the sound of the birds, the sound, and silence, 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 from which all the sounds are arising, disappearing into. Look at how big the container is for all the sounds. Huge. Okay. So let us now just invite the containers body parts, whole body, the head, all of that. I want you to close your eyes for a moment and just notice. It's just sensation. It's just vibration. And some areas are more dense than others, in my experience. But with eyes closed and without the ability to name or think, well, keep that listening wide open and notice you're seeing the dark. You're seeing space right now. If you were a baby, you wouldn't even know the moment was going to be there when you opened your eyes again. You wouldn't know because you don't have any memory, don't have any ability to think. So just look in that way. Become aware of seeing. Become aware of listening and all the sounds. Now the container, if the eyes are closed, is just vastness, vast. It doesn't have an end, doesn't have a location. And let's view sensation from here. And see, explore how thinking, how perception creates the outline, the container of a body or a body part. Just watch the show for a moment to see if we can grok how this identification happens. You see, we learned it, but let's examine it and see if we can unlearn it. You learn to identify with the body. And with eyes closed, is there really the shape of a body? And if thinking is happening, look between those thoughts. Keep attention relaxed in the visual field of just darkness, or you can do it eyes open. Relaxed in the auditory field, hear the silence. Just keep that spaciousness to really examine how identification occurs. This sense of separation as body, as head, as thinking. Now, it might get more intense because it's just a muscle. It's like going, no, for some reason. But just like a little child throwing a tantrum who tightens its body all up, what are you going to do as the loving parent? You're not going to go pry its fists open. Not going to yell at it. Just going to wait, right? Listen to its pain. It's just a contraction. It's just a learned shape. What happens? Like, can you tell the difference between the awareness or the silence? Doesn't it just sweep through these sensations, the ability to notice? Isn't it arising everywhere that the sensations are arising? And doesn't it extend to the sounds in the environment, to the space that you're seeing if eyes are closed, to the whole moment if eyes are open? What if The whole moment is the container, and the body was never the container for you. It was just made of sensation. What happens? What happens if it's an energetic field? And this and and location as a relative here-ness is just a contraction, but that relative here-ness that makes everything else seem there, or the me and the myself as body, head, body. What if they're given the container of here, the larger here that has no there? Just this moment, here, the whole moment. And if something hits a skin line, just almost like we have this little sweeping mechanism, you can just go and just let attention sweep through those imaginary lines and see, no, they're not obstructing. They're not. Attention can sweep through. Just let's try that. Let's take attention. Pick a point of intensity or a location and go right there. Notice, not even going right there because you don't go, you're already there. The noticing is co-arising. So be both the noticing of that, and then ever so slightly, just the way that we relaxed attention in the visual and auditory field, just start relaxing in the field of sensation. See what other sensations are around that. Vibration, whichever word you prefer. And keep just expanding in all directions, like three-dimensionally. Notice that the noticing of it is not affected in one iota from the sensation. And keep going, 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 going. Out, 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 out. And see if there's any real edges. And if you hit a skin line, just notice what that's made of. Is it an image in your mind's eye? Is there a shape there? And just invite the shape to let loose. What happens? Keep reaching, reaching into the environment. If you get to an imagined edge, just see what that's made of and keep going into the field. Thoughts may be happening, but just notice them as sounds. Also in the field with all the other sounds, keep noticing the field, the field. That's and then let's come in again to an area that has been contained by the mind. It might be viewed as intensity. Just notice that attention is right there, right there, right there with the sensation, the noticing. And you see, the noticing has no shape. It can take the shape of whatever's arising, but in and of itself, it has no shape. The noticing is where the sounds are, the noticing is where images on the mind's eye. The noticing is a field, it's a field of noticing. And then what's around that? We're going to actually sit as the noticing and start expanding to see what else is here in the sensational field. I keep going. Oh, there's that. There's that. Wow, there's a lot more here than when attention was narrowed. And now keep relaxing. Keep noticing more and more and more. And you see, here's a cool comparison. You see how the vibrations and the sensations all have a certain kind of movement to them? How about the noticing? Does it move? Ah. So perhaps what silence is to sound, what space is to the visual moment, stillness is to the sensational field. This field where shape comes from. But originally has no shape, has the shape of the moment. No shape, no shape. So it's really like just remembering, and expanding that attention out, 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 out. Noticing the sounds. Notice anything seen. Even thinking is contained as image, as voice, sound. Floating. Oh. Allowing everything to lose shape. Get to a skin line, just move past that. If it feels like a barrier, just take your attention right through it. Wham, to one side, out the bottom of the foot. No, we say a foot. I don't want to create anything. So just swish your attention. Like sweep it, sweeping, sweeping, or scanning. Where is there actually a shape? Where? And you might come to an area and go, there. And the mind says, it labels it, contains it. And you go, you see the container. And notice the noticing as the container. And then you ask the magic question, what else is here? Wow. And you see how the lens of attention has to expand all directions or no directions. And you just let everything lose shape. It may not. It may not lose its shape right away. And you reach the edgeless container of everything experienced. Might be a lot of contraction because it's been atrophied for so long, believed for so long. And if we examine these sensations without labels, or maybe we could just give it the label of forgetting. Oh, this, oh, yeah, that's just forgetting right there. And the noticing is the remembering. They kiss, they meet, they're one and the same. The marriage of forgetting, the pain of forgetting, met by the love of remembering. What's that like? All contraction has its origin in forgetting. Well, you see, forgetting held in remembering. Notice if that makes it easier to relate to rather than some label called pain or arm or me or body, just forgetting. The terror of forgetting, concretizing, but soothed by the noticing, by the moment, by remembering. I heard the Stevie Wonder song. I think, isn't it lovely? I know it's she, but it's not a she. Or maybe it is in. And just like every time one of those pangs of forgetting arises, just absolutely going, I know what this is. Relax. I know what this is. It's almost like a gentle correction. All those times we said, I'm not enough, I'm bad, there's something wrong with me, I'm unworthy, la, 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 la. Like that hurt. There was a lot of contraction. And even more to hold it as a belief, to make it true. True. Hooray. You know, it's like the breath. The breath is the movement, but the gap in between them, the stillness. That's in the sensational field. You can borrow the stillness with eyes open. You could borrow the air or how much of the moment is still. Uh, like right now, there's an experience of being in the snow globe. And the sensations are moving like the leaves are moving. But so much of it is still. And everything is noticed. Movement held, whether here or there relatively. And gentle arms of remembering here. Bathing, bathing, bathing in the here-ness. All of this forgetting. Kind of yummy, really. I'm pretty sure this is how the body heals. If there even is one, when the container dissolves. I don't know. But you get glimpses of, oh, what the moment would look like in the absence of forgetting, like without the me thoughts, without the future, without the past, without the contraction of forgetting. Hmm. Oh, look, there's just a little bit of forgetting right there. See, isn't that a better word, Cheryl? We pick our words closest to the truth. They have so much less story with them. Feels like a waterfall of energy here. I'm melting. What a world. What a world. Oh, I think that's it. I'm going to stop the recording.